NFL picks. Now let's get to the NFL ones. NFL Week 1 best bets. How do we think things are going to shape out? Here's my first one for you, Sean. I think that one of the easiest polls, and this is phenomenal analysis by me. I heard a stat somewhere that I don't remember what it was, but more often than not, I know this is really just great source citing by me.
You're putting the hat on the hat with the here.
But like in all seriousness, though, if we think about, and of all places, I was listening to a podcast about sleep, and that was where this was referenced.
Okay.
More often than not in these circumstances, we have an East Coast team traveling to play a West Coast team, and there's a difference in their body clocks. So this is an 8:20 kickoff for the East Coast team for their body clock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to feel a lot later for them. So I like the idea of the 49ers covering the 4.5 against the Jets. I think that we're a little too hyped up on the Jets, and if that they're going to get into a rhythm, it's going to be a few weeks in. I feel like this is an opportunity, on the other hand, for the 49ers to get they always do this. You know, they always have like a really big prime time early season win that everyone starts to get super hyped up on them. So I feel pretty good about this. Give me 49ers covering 4.5 against the Jets.
I am staying away from that line personally. It gives me the ick because even after the Jets lost their quarterback last year after 3 plays, they ended up beating the Buffalo Bills with an overtime walk-off punt return touchdown. That was interesting to see from that team and how much life they showed in the first 9 weeks. San Francisco is by far the better team in this matchup. It shouldn't even be close. It's a common sense bet to take San Francisco 4.5, but I know there's still some old bitterness between Aaron Rodgers and San Francisco because he didn't get drafted there. He's a California kid and all that. And he's got the chip on his shoulder to say, I can still do this. It's a terrifying spread for me. I understand the common sense bet, though. Good team, historically terrible team. It's fine. I can't really admonish you on that one. My first bet, Dallas underdogs getting 2.5 versus the Cleveland Browns.
Bad pick.
Why would they ever be underdogs when they're playing a team quarterbacked by Deshaun Watson? This doesn't make any sense to me. You could say the Cleveland Browns defense is spectacular, and they retained all their talent. They're bringing J.O.K. back. The defensive backfield is loaded. Myles Garrett's a beast. Everything about that defense is certainly true. This Cleveland Browns offense could be terrible. Deshaun Watson hasn't shown me one game where he has stepped up and said, "Oh, I can be classic Deshaun Watson, looking like a grown-ass man, bouncing off of tacklers and then dotting up." No, I haven't seen that one snap in Cleveland. Dallas 2.5. I don't care about the Hollywood craziness that's going on with them and Jerry doing all these interviews and talking about Dak, and Dak doesn't really pay any attention to what Jerry says. That's a good look, Dallas. You're a garbage fire also, but you're going to win this game. You're definitely not going to lose to Cleveland.
You're putting a lot of faith in some like super iffy teams. Wow, there are a lot. Oh man, you're putting a lot of faith in some super iffy teams. This is a team I got a lot of faith in. Panthers covering +4 versus the Saints. I think that the Saints are so ungodly terrible. Like, I really think that this is going to be just a brutal year for the Saints. In the inverse of this, Panthers feel like that they've got more juice than people are willing to give them credit for. If there's like a really unexpected, when I was looking at the lines, if there's an unexpected underdog where you're just like, what? How, really? That they had a decent win? Panthers feel like they got some juice that they could pull that one out.
Last year, the Panthers were possibly the worst football team I've ever seen in my life. But here's what I like about the Panthers. If you have your second year of a rookie quarterback and he was the number 1 overall draft pick, you're still fighting for momentum. The Saints have been in quicksand for what feels like 10 years. They have not had any upward momentum or direction. They have flashy, fun players. Alvin Kamara has been spectacular. But you know what? Derek Carr is not going to do the job here. Panthers giving 4. I almost took this line because I think the Saints are going to take Carolina lightly because of how god-awfully bad they were. But maybe they go out and shock them. I won't take that one in my personal life. Awful pick, actually. My second pick, Miami giving 3.5 versus Jacksonville. This is my common sense play of the week. Miami's offense, especially in the warm months, may be the best in the league. It might not even be close how good the offense is. A-Chain, Mostert, healthy Tua. You have Tyreek Hill and Waddle on the outside. They're dynamic. no matter how you chop it up and screw it, Miami is dynamic. Jacksonville is still trying to figure out their identity under Trevor Lawrence.
Chop it up and screw it?
They are still in a refractory period post-Urban where they don't know what they are. Are they a good defense team? Are they the team that runs the ball with ETN? Do they start airing it out with Lawrence and Calvin Ridley? No one knows. I don't know, but I know Miami is willing to put up 40 points in September. So Miami giving 3.5 makes sense to me. I like it a lot.
I feel like you're putting a lot of faith in some teams that have some uncertainties. I don't have like a huge counter for that, but I see where you're coming from. It makes plenty of sense.
You could just say it's a good bet.
No,
you don't have to have a counter for it.
Look, Miami, yes,
bet.
this is a situation where Miami could come out the gate like they always do, and they put up just goofy, ungodly offensive totals. But at the same time, I feel like everyone's discounting Jacksonville too quickly. So I don't really have much of a sway
there might be some bitterness from last year, expecting way more out of the Jaguars. That might still be carrying over for me, but I had bitterness towards Miami, how they ended the season last year in terrible fashion. No, I think they're ready to go. I think Miami puts up 40.
Bears -4 against the Titans. I think the Titans have been this weirdly propped up and hyped up team this whole offseason. We're like, oh, Will Levis is going to take this huge step forward. And
who's saying
how
that?
Dude, no.
Genuinely?
There are a lot. I have sat in on some edits on some shows where that has been pitched a lot. And I'm sitting there just going like, didn't we do this with Will Levis every single year? We did it at Penn State, then we did it at Kentucky twice, and then we did his rookie season. And it's kind of just like a lot of like big arm, not a lot of anything else.
Yeah,
like nothing
big
else.
Arm,
really going.
whole lot of hog. That's what Will Levis.
He does have a huge hog. I'm not going to get in on that. And it kind of gives me this vibe with the Bears that they're going to be a hot team to start because they do have all this positive energy for them going forward. They're kind of a darling now because of Hard Knocks, as that always happens. I know the Hard Knocks teams always don't like really explode out of the gate, and they don't always end up being super productive during those seasons. But everything that the Bears have going for them is in such a positive direction. Their defense, I think, is phenomenal. So if they end up stealing a couple of interceptions off of goofball Will Levis, I see Caleb Williams capitalizing on it. So give me covering by 4 there.
I think two things. I drafted the Bears defense in my fantasy league. I believe in that defense, and that team is going to be certainly different this year. And this isn't optimism for a Mahomes stomper. No, I genuinely see a different culture in Chicago. I've seen it change way faster than I have in Washington. But the Titans aren't going to be this rough and tough, punchy in the mouth type team. They picked up Tony Pollard, fast back. They have Tajay Spears, fast back. Calvin Ridley, fast. So if they want to try to take the top off and then intermediately go to DeAndre Hopkins for good contested catches, that's fine. It's not the offense that I would run in Tennessee. I still think that they need to fix up the offensive line. It's still a very young offensive line with Skoronski and J.C. Latham. The Bears also, they have a little bit of destiny in this week 1 game. It's a little bit of destiny to feel the Caleb Williams hype.
That's what I'm going for.
And see how he developed in camp. And if you have a set of eyeballs and you looked at him throwing the ball in preseason, you'd be impressed. So it's a fine pick. Bears giving 4. My final pick, Seattle giving 6 versus Denver.
Terrible pick.
It's a good pick. Do you know why, Joseph?
I mean, I think it's a terrible pick because if there is a heartbeat game for Bo Nix and for Denver to just kind of pop out of nowhere and keep them close, they don't even need to win. You 6 points. You need Seattle to win by 6.
I do. Let me have guest tweeter Brian Nemhauser give you a little information here. Vegas now has the Seahawks as 6-point favorites against Denver. They are 5-0 in their last 5 season home openers when favored by 6
you pulled
plus
someone
points.
else's analysis. Boom!
I checked in with one of my Seahawks sources, and he directed
Somebody at
me
the gas station
to
when you got your Zins?
tweet. Don't worry about my. Now we're vice shaming. That's crazy.
No, not vice shaming, but I think that you get your betting advice from the guy at the convenience store.
A trusted Seahawks source linked me
What's
right
his
to
name?
Don't worry about his name. I'm not giving my source out right now, all right? Because if this doesn't hit, then I'm going to remove that source from the Rolodex when it comes to talking Seahawks. Also, Denver has not looked sharp. They have not looked strong. Denver has been the Chicago White Sox the last couple years of who to bet against if you're betting in the NFL. Do they have a competitive game against the Chiefs every now and then? Sure. Do they sometimes get a scare out of the Los Angeles Chargers? Maybe once in a blue moon. They're not good. Sean Payton doesn't know what the hell he's doing on the sidelines. Seattle giving 6. In a duel between 10-year vet Geno Smith and rookie Bo Nix, I'm taking Geno Smith. Which I kind of don't like that I said that
It's
like Kellerman's
6
Iguodala,
points.
but it is what it is.
Wait, are they 5-0 in their openers, or are they 5-0 against the spread in their openers?
They are, when the Seahawks are 6-point they're 5-0 in their last 5 season openers when favored by 6+ points.
I hate that. That's so oddly specific. That trend doesn't mean anything to me. That's all just kind of based on like, hey, this kind of
History of winning at home in an opener when favored by
all
6+
of those
points.
teams prior to today were different teams. So it's more of a trend than it is like, hey, here's a reason why this team's going to win. It's like, oh, this happens to happen.
They covered in 3 out of 5, and the one little caveat that I'm not thrilled about, the most recent was against Cincinnati in 2019. So it's been a couple years, and I know they haven't been home favorites by 6+ points, but yeah, that's something I'm going to back up this bet with. There's no way they lose this game.